Joining us on Mirror Now. What we're seeing today, really, what we're witnessing today in just a single day is horrific. But it appears that collectively as a society, maybe as parents, as teachers, and protectors of society, perhaps we all are responsible for cases like this. I'm going to come to you, Mr. Vanjari. You've actually been in the police force. You've actually witnessed cases like this. What do you feel are the reasons for increasing crime of this nature?
What happened in this country from time to time, we are reviewing the juvenile acts and how to prevent the crime being committed by juveniles. But whatever new legislation or whatever new enactment or some amendments we have brought in the law, it seems that the law itself is not fully able to control such kind of crimes being committed by juvenile. It is perfectly been torn up and said that this psychological turmoil phases the children are passing through teenage, and the juvenile, when they attempt to commit such kind of crime, been encountered with certain situation or circumstances around. I think when the juvenile psychology is being controlled, or there is some repairing method for distorted psychology, and similarly another side will prevent from such circumstances or situation being encountered by the juvenile. I think on these two dimensions we can well see control such kind of menace. Otherwise, nowadays the technology and the effect of technology has given birth to a new terminology, that is cyber psychology. People who are aware of it know that after continuous watching of TV or playing video games or mobile handling, what way there are behavioral changes in the juvenile and the teenagers in particular. Those behavior changes we need to tap, and before time we need to consult some child or juvenile psychiatrist to see that whether the child is going in a deteriorating manner, and if it is so, then such psychiatrists can suggest some solutions for this, that to keep the child away from certain things and also not to get him involved in sort of a situation where distortion of child psychology can happen. But parents are also equally helpless on one side, that in house they have one or two children at the most. They think they love the children, they think they respect the child, they think the child is their future, and they are doing some liberal sort of behavior with them. That is also a sort of a contributing factor. But how many factors you are going to blame? Like that you are going to blame teacher, you are going to blame parent, you are going to blame society, you are going to blame the situation being put forth by the technological hyper incidents happening continuously all around. Where to control, why to control, how to control, this is a big complex issue. Can be solved through psychological experts and also with legal experts. I worked in police, I handled cases of juveniles. It's basically to understand the root cause, what contributes in the distortion of the psychology of a juvenile.
Okay, okay. Well taken. Before bring in Mr. Dhanraj Vanjari, he actually wants to just make a point here. Go ahead.
What is happening, Sanjana? Anuradha madam is just trying to shift the burden on the parent, that parents should understand, parents should know. No problem about it. You can shift the burden on parents, but I think the liability and accountability of today's socio-economic condition of this country, it won't be proper to shift entire burden on the parents. Because parents are necessarily supposed to work, necessarily both the spouses need to work, otherwise they can't survive, they cannot give better situation for the children. No parent thinks that our children should be going like this. One point I may agree with Anuradha madam, and that is that parent should take note that whether in their house there is Albert Einstein, Tagore, Tilak or Ambedkar or Dawood Ibrahim. Who is who? As trying to be explained on the channel by Dr. Deshpande, nature and nurture, these two factors intermingle and develops a sort of a child psychology which need to interact with this situation or the driven circumstances being placed for the child. Those circumstances may be in the house, maybe outside on the playground, maybe in the neighborhood, maybe in the school, or maybe in any social sphere anywhere, including the social media and the maniac of high-driven technology. My point is very clear over here. You have an option to understand your child well. Parents' responsibility stands to that on number one, but similarly, every school has a psychiatric profiling and psychological counselor in the school. Responsibility on that psychological counselor is more compared to the parent only for the reasons that being a third person view the situation, that psychological counseling in the school can understand the child better. Now it is the duty that counselor of the school will observe the behavior pattern of the child and will accordingly inform the parent. Parent also will get a suggestion from them that what kind of situation should be avoided in your houses, looking into their present scenario, and what kind of situation the child should face, encounter in their neighborhood. That much limited portion can be devoted to parentage, but maximum onus, I think, and in my view, being a cop, I studied it, I submitted my research paper, Genetic Orientation of Thought Dynamics. According to me, these two things, nature and nurture, are very important. Recently on Netflix, there is a movie, The Island, whether a human can create a situation or circumstances, or the circumstances can create a human psychology. This is a point of rift, and I think world over, the scientists are very rigorously working on it, being a very, very important issue. I am thankful to Mirror Now that such a sensitive issue they have brought in with these incidences, and there is a deep need for in-depth research.
Right,
And
right.
after
Okay,
that,
so point
we
well
must
taken.
develop a
Now we've
model
actually
collectively.
we've
This
gone
is a
into.
collective responsibility.
Okay, we've gone into the psychology. Mr. Vanjari, really quickly, what do you feel? Do you think the laws actually need to be re-looked at? Because let's remember, just in the recent past, we've seen some horrific crimes that have been committed where the accused are in fact tried as adults. But what about our existing guidelines, our existing framework? Is that enough?
Sanjana, actually you are touching the crux of the issue. The law need to be reviewed and revamped, need to make amendments properly in concern with this new terminology has come, that's a cyber psychology. Oh, cyber psychology is such a big area, and unfortunately we do not have a controlling act on cyber psychology. Let today this program to get devoted asking the government for enacting certain acts to cover cyber psychology, and if certain cyber issues which are creating through media or certain apps or maybe certain linkage having bad effect on the child psychology, those apps and such technological devices can be stopped by the government, can be rehooked by the government, and it can be told to the student that not to go for such kind of linkage and such kind of apps and all that. But I have my doubt, because this is a global village now we are staying. If certain some apps being created in South Africa or somewhere in Japan, how
Right.
can we stop a child? How India government can do it?
Right.
And on that issue, I think enabling India government, there is a need to relook at the act and do a proper amendments there.
Okay, Mr. Vanjari and Dr. Deshpande.